see so many of you from across the industry, not just agencies, but the whole remit across the industry, which is fabulous to see. And I'm going to mention a big thanks to you all right at the end. Now, hopefully you all had a relaxing and enjoyable break. I certainly have had an enjoyable break, probably too enjoyable, where I've drunk far too much. And I'm sure that a lot of people I'm noticing as we come in on the same as me. And that isn't vodka, by the way. So I'm on the wagon in a vain attempt to get my body back in shape. So 9 days in, I'm not doing too badly, so long may it continue. Now, apart from New Year's resolutions, this time of year, a lot of us sort of reflect and look back on the year gone and look forward to the year ahead. And Paul's just sort of mentioned some of the things I'm going to talk about in terms of the bellwether, but we are feeling more confident, aren't we? Which is fabulous. But when you look back, when you sort of think about reflecting back, I remember standing where you are now, again with a glass of water in my hand, I seem to remember, this time last year, and listening to Nicola. And I'd just been told that I was going to be the next IPA president. So I thought, oh shit, I've got to do that next year, haven't I? And I've got to come up with some sort of agenda that hopefully gets the right temperature of the industry and what it needs to do to go forward. So, and I distinctly remember, and I wrote it down here, I looked it up this morning, is the bellwether report this time last year. And this was the sort of summary. It said, marketing spend will have fallen for the 5th successive year. With business confidence falling further, prospects look rather subdued. So when you compare to what Paul just said now, and it was a bit of a tough backdrop. I thought, oh my God, this is not a great time to take over. And the only thing that was holding us a bit was the Olympics and Paralympics, and the Diamond Jubilee from 2012 gave us at least some sort of feel-good factor. There didn't seem to be a lot in the pipeline for 2013, apart from good old George, who popped along. But there wasn't a lot. So as I say, so what was my agenda going to focus on? So I thought, oh God, help. So the only way of doing it is by going out and getting I based my whole career on nicking other people's ideas. So what I did is I went around and I talked to a lot of people, many people in this room, some outside the room, not just agencies, clients, intermediaries, people from the media, and again, not just London, throughout the whole country. And really what we were all feeling was the economic and commercial pressures on all of us, not just client business, all of our businesses. And it was really affecting our profit, our margin, and our confidence. Not only that, we were all coping with the most rapid sort of stage of change that our industry has faced. I mean, that quote, I've forgotten who it's from, but the last 5 years has seen more change than the previous 50. So there's a lot of change, driven a lot by technology. We all know this, but data, content, mobile, the relationship between brand and consumers, it's all changing. So, and clients, and to a certain degree agencies, are looking at trying to change their business model. So not only do we have economic pressures, we had sort of change through technology. So very much a challenging environment. Some people, some of you saw it as an opportunity. Some found it a really tough problem, especially after 5 years of it. So the clear message I took out, though, was, especially from several clients saying this, was now more than ever is the need to demonstrate the value and effectiveness of what we do as an industry. Andy Fennell, particularly from Diageo, he had a quote, creativity and commerciality should be seen less as a trade-off, but more as bedfellows in this time of austerity. And he said his brands live or die on brand communications, on advertising. And that's the real reason why VCCP, which I started back in 2002, why we joined the IPA. Because at its heart, if there's one word that sums up the IPA, is effectiveness. And what we wanted to stand for as VCCP was to stand for a creative and effective agency. And I call this commercial creativity. So creativity that delivers commercial results for our clients, but also for us as agencies. And that was always been, that's been the foundation of my agenda. Now, I've been in the industry now about 30 years, going from below the line to various sort of, into advertising sort of halfway through. But being, in all honesty, has it changed much in terms of our processes, the type of people we recruit, Our remuneration model, being honest, it hasn't changed that much. And what I thought, to deliver commercial creativity better, we do it bloody well, don't get me wrong, we need to do something about it. And I looked for inspiration from the outside world, and I thought, well, who better than Darwin? In a changing environment, when everything's changing, what did he say? And we all know this. It's not the biggest or strongest of a species that survives. It's the ones that are most adaptable to change. So that's why I use the word adapt. Adapt for better commercial creativity. So that's really the nature of my agenda. And it's going right at the heart of our business, as Paul said, and it's trying to address how do we work with our clients to deliver better commercial creativity. And it had 5 strands. Hopefully you know them by now, all around ADAPT. And it's captured in the exhibition around you. Now, it's so PACTI tonight, you won't be able to see much of it. But I'm sure most of you have been reading bits about it, but we're going to have a whole program over the next 12 months. We've been going for the last 6 months of this year, last year I should say, delivering against this agenda. And it's not being done in isolation. One of the key things I thought we should do is the advertising agency industry at its worst can sometimes navel gaze. And so I was really keen on involving the wider industry and particularly clients. Because after all, we don't make the advertising, we do it with our clients. So for the first time, I created something called a client council. Now, several people here today actually from the client council, and you'll see some of the faces around the room. And we picked them from, some of them being ex-agency, some of them have always been clients all their lives, but we picked them because they were opinion formers, they're senior, and they're in different sectors. They can be real people who can lead, not only internally in their particular organisations, but lead the client world, as well as be counsel to us about how we, both of us, can adapt better to deliver this commercial creativity. So that's why we created this client council, and we created ambassadors off the back of them. Now, not only them as individuals, we thought the other way of doing it was to actually engage with the wider industry through the industry bodies. So I can see people here today from ISBA, from the Marketing Society, from the AA, and lots of other agency bodies, is that we've really tried to pull everyone together to try and address it as an overall industry. Also intermediaries, and I thought one of the key things, we were talking about it earlier actually, bringing intermediaries in, which are always in most people's heads, intermediaries are there to pitch. Yeah? And one of the things I wanted to do in one of my first strands was I'd love to have an industry that pitch less and longer relationships. And more the industry, the intermediaries, are completely on that side. They want to get more and more involved in relationship management between agencies and clients. And it suits them to be less pitching. And I think it suits lots of people to pitch less. And that's one of the first things I've been trying to push. And you'll see it as we leave tonight. The first strand of alliances is captured in this book. All the learnings that we've had over the last 3, 4, 5 months, we've been trying to capture in this book to try and push the message. Now, not only intermediaries, but other consultants, Kingston Smith, the bakery, I see bakery here, Andrew is here today, all about technology and how technology is, how we're using technology in our industry more and more. And obviously, the other thing is the media, not only media owners, but across marketing, trade titles and national media, we've been trying to engage all of you in this whole agenda. As I say, what's the aim of it is to create a win-win. It's creating a series of initiatives, experiments, events that we've called adaptathons, based on hackathons, where we challenge, we experiment. Some things will work, some things won't. We share the learnings, we promote best practice, and we try and out bad practice for the benefit of everybody. And we're trying to capture it in a blueprint, and that being the first chapter of what I'm calling a commercial creative contract. Could be a book, don't know in what format it will be, but that collates a lot of the learning together, and not only there, but on a hub through the IPA that we can all share and learn from. It's not going to happen overnight, this change, but this is the beginning of something hopefully we can all build on. So 2013 so far, in the 8 months I've been president, we've done this alliance. We've done the first strand, 100 days of experiments captured in that. We had 180 attendees in an Adaptathon. There's been blogs, there's been articles, and the main output of it was the idea of a relationship contract. The idea of we have a legal contract with our clients, we have a fee contract, but do we, with our clients, really concentrate on how we work together? So this idea of having a really work through how, from pitch stage all the way through, how do we build a better and ideally longer term relationship? Because we know that longer term, if you look at the statistics, most longer term relationships produce better work, produce better commercial creativity, better returns for both. It's not that complicated. It's amazing how we tend to throw it up in the air often too soon. Not saying there shouldn't be pitches. Of course, there's always reason to have pitches, but it's being clear when to have them and to do them well. So that's what we've done in the first sort of 6 months. A lot of work behind the scenes from a lot of people in this room. So if that's looking back, looking ahead, as the latest bellwether, it's really encouraging to see it's coming out next week, but the one before said the largest recorded upward revision to marketing budgets ever in bellwether. UK economic growth of 2.3% in 2014, with expected ag growth of 3.6%. It might even be better. I'm sure you'll find out next week on the latest one. Many other reports as well we've looked at, all saying similar things. And I think the other report I always look at is the AA and the advertising pays and what we do to the overall economy. We don't just benefit from it, we contribute to it. And the idea of every pound spent on advertising returns £6 to the UK economy is a great message. It's the IPA being part of the AA. We've all been trying to push because we do a lot of good. So I think the theme is growth, ambition, optimism. Those are the key themes. And if I had sort of one message today, going back to my friend Darwin, if I'm going on about adapt, he talked about survive. If 2013 the message was adapt to survive, I think 2014 is adapt to thrive. And really, how can we take advantage of the economic conditions and really go for growth, and how we can be a major part of driving that growth? Now, that's what the backdrop of the diversification, the agility, the performance and the talent, 100 days on each, the adaptathons we're going to be focusing on. I don't need to go on any more than that, apart from plugging the next one, the diversification event. The adaptathon is on February the 4th in the evening. We're doing it in a different format. There's going to be an evening debate between clients and agencies about what areas should we be diversifying into that harnesses our commercial creativity, that make money for the client and make money for us. How does it actually return? And there'll be a debate, and then in the morning, in 3 different locations, we're going to create different adapt labs. One of them on where technology meets creativity, with a bakery, and we're working with other people that the bakery are leading, working with us all on from Tech City. How do we harness all that technology with our creative skills to deliver? The second one is about multi-platform storytelling and content. We're teaming up with Power to the Pixel from the film industry about how do we do that better. And the third one is with Google Labs. And we're going to look into turning big data into creative insights. How do we use that rather dry subject in lots of people's heads of big data to deliver commercial creativity? So don't forget, sign up at the IPA website, I think the IPA Adapt Hub, because we'd like to see as many of you as possible at the event in February. Now, not only that, outside of Adapt, a lot of other things that happen, the IPA, that we've tried to pull into the Adapt program, but happen actually some of them not every year, every couple of years. It's interesting, an even year, to me, I'm doing a lot more in the world of sports marketing. An even year is a good year, because an even year is a World Cup year. Is a Winter Olympics year, yeah? It's a Commonwealth Games year this year. A lot of things actually happening in Scotland this year, aren't there? Thank goodness, by the way, there's not an Ashes year. I think we've all had enough of that. But in the IPA world, it's an effectiveness year. It's an effectiveness awards year. You know, the creme de la creme, one of the reasons, again, why I joined the IPA for that word effectiveness, and we do have the best awards in the world, no doubt. Everyone says it. When you travel around the world, it is the Oscars, and we should harness it, and you know, it's our jewel in the crown. Not only is it a great awards, it creates a lot of information out of it. The data bank, You look at Peter and Les, I think I've seen here, and the long and short of it. Look at that booklet. Look at what they've done about the learnings we've got from 34 years of data about effectiveness. It's incredibly good reading. So we've got a treasure house of knowledge that we as IPA agencies can benefit from. And that is one of the benefits of being an IPA agency. So for the Effectiveness Awards, don't forget, pre-registration by the end of January. If you haven't started it now, you haven't got a hope in hell, unless you're really quick. And if you need some help, again, go to the IPA hub, the IPA website. Not only effectiveness, the other thing that happens every year, we're doing a lot on, is research. And I see Stephen here. One thing we've been doing with the Marketing Society, social media measurement. It's something that we all know as an industry. How does it work? How do we measure it? And we've tried to do as a cross-industry initiative with the Marketing Society, is a measurement system that works across. And that was launched recently, and I think some findings and results are coming out in the next couple of months. Also, I think we all know this one, Touchpoints. That's been going for about 9 years. It's about to launch Touchpoints 5 in a couple of months' time, a newer, better version of Touchpoints. And the third thing I'd say is the whole area of training and CPD. I was talking to some of my friends over here about what the IPA do for us all in terms of training. And really building on Nicola's previous agenda, Ad School, which is aimed at universities, and Creative Pioneers aimed at schools. How do we bring in younger, more diverse talent to this industry? Because especially as it's changing so much, we can get a lot of ideas from people a lot younger than me. Also, Nicola was obviously a staunch supporter of women in advertising, and the Women for Tomorrow Awards is going to be, I think the entry's got to be in by the end of January. And the other thing I think is really good about training that we've been doing, that we're opening up the foundation certificates, the excellence diplomas, to not only non-UK agencies, we're going to many more countries, I think 59 countries we're going into, but we're also opening up to clients, based on this idea of, we do advertising together. The more we learn about it, the better it's all going to become. So don't keep it away from clients. Let's work together, and we can learn a hell of a lot of their particular training schemes, I'm sure. So I'm keen on working with rather than versus. So finally, I've baffed on far long enough. I said I wouldn't, no. I want to say thanks on a personal note to all of you, because you've all contributed a lot to this agenda. But let's be honest, it's not my agenda, it's our agenda. It's an industry agenda. But particularly I wanted to thank some stalwarts at the IPA here. Paul, Janet, Joyce, Danielle and Catherine are a superstar team. It couldn't happen without them. They are, with their wider team behind them, their knowledge, passion and commitment, they as an industry body are a great add for our industry, and they really are, and I mean that genuinely. Not only them, but behind them, all you volunteers who support and work in IPA groups, incredibly important, and I really, really respect and your time and your input and your advice. It's really important to me personally, but to the wider team. And the client council and ambassadors, your counsel, literally, and the example you set and good practice to others is really important to us all, to move us all on. Because I say, it's good for us all to move us on to stay ahead of the competition. So let me leave you one thought. As I was coming here, I was walking through Chinatown, and the old Chinese horoscope and the old Chinese New Year is in a few weeks' time. And does anyone know what the year we're currently in? No, about to go into horse. Right? We're snake. Now, I just thought it's quite interesting. When you pick sort of the attributes of a snake for 2013, a bit slithery, yeah, twisting, venomous, got a bit of a bite to it, yeah, but when you think of a horse, you know what you think? But, power, speed, grace, thoroughbred. Let's get on that ride, I say. Get out into those open spaces. So hopefully it's a good omen. Anyway, that's enough from me. Here to 2014, and I'd say adapt to thrive together.